Okay, hi friends with YouTube. Hello.
Did you hit record?
1 second. YouTube gets a moment. Hi YouTube. YouTube got a whole lot of moments with Lee Brown.
Oh, really?
She was like,
that's
you
the
know,
one
she's
people are
all
going to
about-
want to watch.
She's all about video, and so we were having some technical difficulties. And so when Jay would come to mess with the computer, she would just be like, YouTube, how many subscribers do we have now? 4? 8? You better get on it. Like, because I told her we only had 2 subscribers. It was pretty funny.
That is funny.
Okay, I'm hitting the record button.
All right.
Okay, thanks.
Have fun.
All right, so here we go. All right.
I'm done.
You good? Are you
I'm
sure?
ready.
Oh, you know what we need to know? What episode number this is.
Oh, and who are we toasting?
Why can't we get this right the first
I
time?
don't know, but I have a toast.
You do have one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Do you
well,
want
perfect.
to pause and start over?
No, it's fine.
This is
Try to record the toast in the same recording.
Yes.
Can do.
I have it ready to go.
Or just don't
Producer
even
friend.
pause and add it into the end because the sound messed up.
Right.
We can
Bye,
do
YouTube.
that. They say goodbye also. All right, this is going to be goal setting, business plan, word for the year. This is episode 18, and it is going to air on December the 9th.
Okay.
It's pretty exciting times. Can you believe it's Christmas time?
I can't believe it's Christmas time.
Okay, so what
There's
episode?
holidays. Holiday stuff everywhere.
I know, I love it. Okay, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, this is episode 18. Hi, everyone. It's number 18.
Woohoo.
Today's topic is goal setting. I don't think we have an official name yet. We'll get to that later.
Right.
Goal setting, business plan, word of the year.
I like it.
Yeah, okay. All right. It's been a minute since we've recorded together.
Yes.
I had to go solo on Lee.
Yeah.
That was the thing. So I got some interesting statistics.
Okay.
I thought it might be fun. We'll jump right in with them. And I think this was a Harvard business study
Okay.
from a couple of years ago, so not like last year. But it said 83% of the population does not have goals.
I believe it.
Just none at all. 14% have a plan, but they're unwritten goals. So they've got
That's where I fall.
okay. And then 3% have written goals. So of the population,
That's such a small percentage.
I don't even know what the sample size was, but I would venture to say this is probably true.
I feel like episodes like this really point out our differences
Yeah, for sure.
and areas that I want to improve on.
Well, look, I'm giddy about today. Like, I love this episode. I love this topic. I like to goal set. I like to write things down. So this is in my wheelhouse of just what I like, which makes it a lot easier for me. But apparently only 3% of the population is in agreement with me.
It makes me feel anxious.
Well, tell me why. Why does it make you feel anxious?
Okay, I feel like any entrepreneur or realtor out there to pick a number and then be like, okay, go make it happen.
Right.
It's like you don't have you control your work and how you work and the work that you put in and the effort
Right.
and all of that. But if you don't make that number, it's like I'm scared to speak a number out into the universe because
Then you could fail.
yeah.
You know, it's funny. I think only 1 of my 14 years I ever hit my goal. And I
Oh.
still do it every year.
See, I just love that about you.
So it's not a failure. It's, you're trying to strive for something. You're trying to achieve something. If you don't, and we're going to go through sort of tips for setting a goal. If you're not striving for something, if it's something you easily did last year, that's not really a goal. That's
Right.
just repeat. I mean, that's
Right.
that's just a plateau.
That's usually what I kind of go for. I'm like, I feel like I've been in this 8 years. I've kind of found my average.
Right.
So if I can stay in this vicinity, then I'm fine.
Well, I think you are fine. Because
but I could do better.
But you don't need, but goals also don't have to be a number. And I think we've definitely covered this on episodes before. You are happy with your transaction number, your income level. These numbers are okay, and so you want to maintain. But there may be ways that you can set a goal that's, I'd like to spend more time with family on whatever, Saturdays, or I'd like to
Yes.
cut down the hours of email I'm doing after 5. Or you may want to set goals that are different than the goals I want to set because I'm still trying to increase the numbers.
Sure.
So I think that's okay. Now, here's where these stats get really good.
Okay.
Okay, so 14% of people had a plan, but they were unwritten goals. those people were 10 times more successful than the 83% of the population with no goals.
Wow.
So even if you didn't write it down, but you had a plan or a kind of a goal in mind, 10 times more successful. Now the 3% that wrote their goals down were 3 times more successful than the 14%.
Wow.
So just by putting the goal on paper, and I think this is from a different, this statistic isn't from that study, but I've heard this multiple places, 42% more likely to achieve written goals. So just the activity of writing it down makes you 42% more likely to achieve the goal.
That's amazing. I really like that.
It's super exciting because friends, everyone listening to us, grab a sheet of paper and a pencil or type it in your phone and write down what your goal is for next year. And there you go. You're 42% more likely.
You're already ahead of the game without doing anything stressful.
You're already ahead of 83% of the population.
Wow.
It's real. We're going to get deep into this, but really, y'all, look at it as a fun activity.
Yes.
You're coming at it from a stressful place because you're seeing the end. And if we focus on the journey part of it, like your husband would,
yes,
then it would be okay. You'd be like, I have these goals to sort of keep me, going in a certain path.
I think that it's like my favorite time of year right now.
Yeah.
It's like holidays and everybody's thankful and kind of slowing down and just embracing life and family, quality time, whatnot. And then January comes.
Right.
And it's like the holiday's over.
Right.
Your number goes back to 0.
Party's over. Oh.
The people that like check MLS to see where they stand, everybody is back at 0.
Right.
It's just the pressure, and it's like to do it again.
Yeah.
Do it again. Do it again.
Yep.
It's a little daunting sometimes. And then, by March, I'm fine.
Well, right. Because by March, everyone is kind of back in where they were going to be. Mm-hmm. The hardest part of goal setting for realtors specifically, I think, is that when you hit January, that is the deadest time.
I know.
So you're like raring to go. Hooray, holidays are over. I'm ready to hit the ground running. But I'm doing my air quotes podcast, there's no work to be done. Right?
Yeah.
Because maybe you don't have any of those hot leads, you don't have buyers or sellers. It's the slowest time of the year, so you feel like you're really starting off on the wrong foot.
But you're ready.
But you want to go. You want to set those goals and make it happen.
And that's where I think, I'm kind of joking about goal setting making me anxious. Sure, there are some daunting thoughts to it, but it does make me excited, and it makes me want to, start fresh.
Yes.
And clean house and get organized and ready to conquer the year.
Yeah. I think it's great to start with a clean slate. I'll tell you what I struggled with the most last year, and since my kids have been in school, regular school, they are out of school until January 6, 7, 8, somewhere in that range. Okay. So there's this stupid imaginary line, right? January 1st, it's the new year. Got to hit the ground running. Got all these goals to put in place.
But wait,
it's still vacation. My kids are still home. I'm not hitting any ground running. I'm just trying to still keep my head above water and do what I got to do and try to not want to move on. Yeah. So my goals don't start until they start back at school. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be so focused on everyone else is starting. Everyone's posting their fun quotes about the new year. Everyone's making a resolution. I'm a lot of moms, I'm sure, it's not just me, are I'm not there yet.
I'm not ready.
I'm not there yet. Yeah, give me a week. I need to ease in.
Right.
I think it's okay to ease into your goals.
Sure. Well, you have all year. What is 5 days going to matter?
It's not going to matter, but it's just a mental thing. It's not going to matter. I'm everyone's getting ahead of me.
Okay, so the kids are back at school.
Yeah.
It's day 1. You're alone in your office.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
I want to clean.
Okay.
I want to file. I want to clean. I want to transfer over my files. I don't have that many that are dated, but where I'm keeping my receipts and stuff. I just want to get it all organized. And YouTube probably can see this. If they can see into my dirty closet back here, I'm still, that's a work in progress. So every January, I'm okay, I'm going to get some more of it done, and maybe one day it'll be done.
Sure.
But I don't know if it'll actually be done. I don't know. But I don't wait until January to do the goal setting, though.
No.
This episode is going to air in the beginning of December.
Okay.
Y'all, this is the time. you're a couple of weeks out of Christmas. You probably have some slower time here. You should be working on your business plan and your goal setting now. Don't wait for January 1. I mean, you can, but
Then you're behind a little.
yeah, I mean, you
You want to hit the ground running when you
yeah,
can.
and it's not, look, this isn't a long activity. Doing a business plan is a little bit more labor intensive and might at the most take you 2 hours. But goal setting, I don't think should take you more than 30 minutes of thoughtfulness and writing.
Right.
It's not a long thing. That's what's so funny, that 83% of the population, they don't even know where they're headed or if they want to head somewhere because they haven't even stopped to think about it for 30 minutes.
I used to write them in my notes.
Uh-huh.
And it is fun to look back at my
And see
goals
what they
from like
were.
2013.
Yes.
I'm going to look right now.
Please do. I can't wait
While
to
we
hear it.
chat.
That's fine. While you look at that, I'm going to start with the steps to doing goals. Do you want to hear the steps?
Please.
I found this amazing article, y'all. I wish I would have written down, but I have a link to it, so we'll post it like on our social media. The article was really well written, and it had steps to setting your goals. One was do a year in review. So I think this plays into your kind of method that you've been using, but go through, it's December, you probably know which closings you have left or which business you have left coming. Go through your year. It's time to look at the year, see what you did, and kind of take stock of what happened.
Right.
How do you do that? How do you actually go through your year in review?
Well, we talked about the Excel spreadsheet
Yeah.
and how it has a source column.
Okay.
So that's how I know these people, or if they were a client, where they came from. But I just have all of my addresses written down with the sale price and the close date
Okay.
and where they came from.
Okay.
And literally at the end of the year, I just look at each one and I make a tally of where they came from.
Yeah, I think that's good. And
Yeah.
really, okay, your average realtor does 11 or 12 transactions a year. That's it.
Wow.
12. Let's just call it 12, one a month. I do not want to hear someone tell me they did not have time to figure out where their transactions came from. If there were 12 or 20 or 50, you can look through a list of 50 transactions and figure out where they came from.
It takes 10 minutes, if that.
Right. And I think this is more of us just telling ourselves, maybe we're nervous about looking back at it. Maybe
Sometimes I am. It's like the accountability.
yeah.
This is where you're looking at yourself.
Yeah.
You're holding yourself accountable.
Yep.
Was it a good year? Was it a slow year? What's going on?
Right.
Are you still happy?
Yep.
Are you giving yourself grace because there was a reason? Or do you need to give yourself some tough love because there was no reason and you just know in your heart that you didn't do what you were supposed to and have this self-discipline?
Right. That might be what it is. It's not the time that it takes to do it. It's the mental part of it.
That's for me.
But I think
I
that's,
just get nervous.
well, and I do them. I don't know why I'm such a record keeper. It's just who I am. So I have a separate spreadsheet that's not my database. It is a spreadsheet that says who the buyer or seller was and where they came from. I am so cuckoo about this. I have where they came from, but I also have a column that says the day that I received that lead.
Oh, wow.
And then the day it closed, so I can see how long it took someone to percolate.
That's amazing.
And I don't even know what the point of that is or why I got into that habit. I think it was when I did more online leads, because you really need to figure out, all right, an online lead is probably not going to turn the same way someone that called you off of your sign is going to turn.
Right.
They're just in different places. Online leads are in this really exploratory phase. So I have all of that in there, and then it's broken down by, so if they came from Facebook or if they came from a sign call, it's just like what you're doing.
Sure.
But it's all in there, and they're broken down by commissions, and I can see where did I make the most money. So if I'm spending money on Facebook ads, for instance, well, did I get any leads off of that? Did I close anything? Do I want to keep doing that?
Right.
The most interesting one, I think, was when I was doing postcards. And I only stopped doing them out of time more than anything, but I was doing 4 postcard series on every listing, and it was,
That's
I think,
a lot.
it's a lot. And I think that year that I did them religiously might have been 2017, and it was like $4,000 worth of marketing dollars, but I had the column that said, this is all the money I made off of it, and it was like 1,000%.
Out.
But it worked out, that worked out fine.
Oh.
But there were other ones that didn't work out great.
Oh.
I'm not gonna lie, I paid for Zillow for a minute. That didn't work out at all.
Yeah.
But y'all, don't just pay for it because you
Without
think
tracking it.
You got to
too.
track it. What a waste. What a waste of advertising dollars. If you're making money off of doing postcards but not off of doing Zillow, then move your marketing dollars there. Or if you're making money off of Facebook ads, or if you're making money only off your sphere, well, why don't you take that $150 you're paying Zillow every month and take 15 people to coffee?
Right.
I mean, that's more fun.
Well, for example, I'm looking right now at my 2016, 2017, and 2018 charts.
Okay.
So I make a chart at the end of every year broken down into where the business came from.
Right.
And it's funny because over 50% is repeat and referral.
Right.
Over 50%.
That's amazing.
So to be repeat and referral, if you want to capitalize on that, you have to say, okay, my goal is to handwrite thank you cards twice a year to everybody that has ever been a repeat or referral, or treat them to coffee, or send them a $5 gift card.
Right.
Like, those are the goals you would be setting.
Yeah.
But if you were rocking open houses and getting leads from that, you probably need to set a goal of Sunday is the day that I worked so hard. Maybe I'll do 1 or 2 open houses every Sunday.
Yep.
And that's where I'm winning. But it's just anytime at the end of the year to just see it happening.
Yeah.
It's validation.
Yeah.
It lets you know where to spend your time and effort.
Well, having that chart and having my spreadsheet, these are not normal behaviors that other realtors are doing.
No.
It's not a requirement.
They don't track.
They don't track. And here's the thing, y'all. It's not hard, and it's treating your business like a business. And what did we learn? If you treat it like a business, it will pay you like a business.
If you hired you to
Yeah.
run your business, would you fire you?
On some things, probably.
I know. Depends what it is.
I don't know which part. Yes, I mean, look, but I'm proud. I'm proud that I make those charts and those goals, and that is an important part of being a business. And you're wearing all the hats, and I know that's hard. And maybe writing down stats and figures and goals and numbers is not your strong suit, but partner up with someone in your office whose it is. And take an hour, go to lunch, make it a fun activity.
Right.
Hey, we're gonna goal set. But y'all, here's my other thing. Please do not go from doing 12 transactions in a year and get all gung-ho about doing goal setting and then say next year you're gonna do 50.
That's a lot.
You're gonna need a plan. If you're not changing something drastic in the way you're doing your business, you're not gonna drastically change the numbers.
Right.
It's just impossible. Now, if you're gonna add in open houses to every Sunday and you've never done them before, maybe I can buy that.
Right. But what are you changing? What is going to get you to where you're looking at?
It's a business plan.
Talk about your plan.
Okay.
Your sheet that you just showed me, because I love it.
All right.
I'm going to commit to do it.
You're gonna do
I'm
it?
going to do it.
You're gonna love it.
You might have to do it with me.
I will do it with you. Okay, y'all. So, Google Realtor Business Plan. I've seen it done in different places. I think I did a webinar one time with Breakthrough Broker, which is not affiliated to any company. You can just do it, and they probably will do it towards the end of the year. I've seen it done with Brian Buffini. I had one that I was able to do through my Remax. It was like a worksheet from Remax. But I'm gonna just really kind of quickly go over it because this is the one that will probably take you an hour to 2 hours because you have to collect some data in order to fill it out correctly. But you come up with your income objective for the year, and then you break that down by 12 months. So you want to make $100,000, you divide it by 12, what are you making per month? Then you do your average sales price. This is where you need to go look at your however many transactions you did last year and do the math.
Right.
I mean, you got to add up all the sales prices and divide it by however many transactions you did and get the average. Then you're going to do the same thing with commissions. So average commission per sale. And I will tell you, mine has changed as the price range I work in changes. That number isn't the same every year.
Right.
So you do have to go look at what business you had the year before. And then you put in, that's pretty easy. You've got an average sales price, you've got an average commissions, and you're going to have a total income. And mine is set up in a spreadsheet now where it's got all of these are formulas.
Right.
So I'm not doing all this math. I'm able to just type in the numbers. Then it divides out and tells you how many transactions. So for instance,
get that income.
Yeah, in 2019, I had an income objective of $300,000, and that was 44 transactions.
And it's funny because 44 transactions seems feasible.
It's not.
And an income of $300,000 seems
like a lot,
like
right?
a lot.
So that's the whole thing. It's all perspective.
Right.
And that's because of where every market's going to be different, right? So if their average sales price is 150 or 450, I mean, in California, it's going to take less transactions, right?
Right.
I mean, like it depends on what like my average sales price from when I looked at my numbers of 2018 and pulled it onto the worksheet to do for 2019 was $268,000. That was the average sales price. So that's how I got to the 44 transactions. If you divide that by 12, it's 4 a month.
Perfect.
4 transactions a month.
That's easy.
And then that is when your mindset and your visualization comes in and your mission statements. You should be saying to yourself every day, I am closing 4 transactions this month.
And if you don't, like what if you have a bad month?
I just keep going. Now, I do reassess, and that's going to come in these steps that we're going to talk about in a minute. Just reassess. If you haven't closed 4 every month and that seems like it's unrealistic, don't wait till the end of the year to redo your goals. Fix them.
The majority of my business is done in May, June, July.
Right. Well, I mean, that's probably a lot of realtors.
Sure.
So that's okay. If you know January, February, and March is going to be slow, don't chuck it all then.
But what are you doing during that time? Because you have to prepare for this busy... Because when summer gets here, you're not going to have time to handwrite cards all the time and organize your database and clean your office and get ready.
Yeah,
you know, like
that's why
really taking advantage of this beginning season. And right now.
That slow season is when you should be doing that.
You know, I told you before we started, I think 2020 is going to be a good year.
I know, I love when you said that.
I believe it in my bones. I don't know why. It's just, I'm starting to get phone calls already of people that are like, hey, I think I'm getting ready after the holidays. Can you just come by? And I'm like, I'm getting more of these calls than normal.
Ooh.
And I just think that 2020 is, you better be ready.
So y'all better be ready.
Yeah.
I better be ready. You're right, I better be ready.
Get the list done.
Get them done. All right, so the end of the business plan worksheet, y'all, it just kind of goes through, look at how many listings you did last year, how many were buyers. That way you know your percentage is there, and then you can figure out. One thing I did want to mention, it does ask you how many appointments you went on. I don't think it's feasible for you to go back through your calendar and try to figure out literally.
You have to track that as you go.
No, but I'll tell you how I track it.
Okay.
I am a religious user of the agency disclosure form and pamphlet that we're required to have in Louisiana. And so when I go on a buyer appointment, I have my buyer folder and it is tucked in there, and every new buyer I meet has to sign it. And that just says they've gotten the pamphlet. And the same thing with listing appointments. They get a listing folder and the pamphlet is in there and everyone has to sign it. Well, we're required here to keep that signed pamphlet for 5 years. So I just pull out, and y'all, it's not that many. I mean, what am I going on? 5 to 10 appointments at the most in a month of brand new people, right? So I just go through that disclosure, and then I'll be like, oh dang, they never did list their house, or oh, they ended up staying, or oh, this buyer flaked out on me. But at least I know how many I met.
Right.
That is where systems come into play in order to keep your numbers, and these are systems y'all can just set in place if you've not done them before. You can guesstimate, you can pull out a month of your calendar and count them, but so I don't know. I think that's helpful if you're keeping up. That's how I keep up with it, because I'm not going to go dig back through my calendar and try to figure out how many appointments I went on, but I do use those disclosures to figure it out. And then it will use that based on the percentage of listings you sold and percentage of buyers to tell you how many buyer or seller appointments you need. And it gets really in depth, and we're not going to go further into it, but it will break it out to working what is your time worth per hour.
I like it.
It's pretty fun. It's fun to look at, and it's helpful to keep you focused.
It would be a really cool thing to just do year to year.
Oh, yeah.
And see ups, downs, growths. Like 2017 was my best year so far. I think at this rate, 2019 will beat 2017.
That's the same for me.
Isn't that
Do you think that's market-based?
Maybe. 2018 was a down year for me.
Mm-hmm.
I did about 17 less transactions.
Yeah.
And about 3.5 million less than the year before, 2017.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just a down year. I didn't really feel it that much.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know why that is.
Interesting.
But 2019 is looking to be a good year.
And deep in your bones, you say 2020.
And deep in my bones, 2020 is looking good. I just
I
feel
love
it.
it. I think that's so good. Okay, do you want to hear the steps to setting a goal?
Yes.
Okay, so step 1, year in review.
Okay,
We
so
kind of dove
look
into that.
where everything came from.
Figure it out. Look at your year. Were you successful in your fitness goals? I mean, that's the thing about goal setting. It's kind of all encompassing.
Right.
You can't compartmentalize just your work. You got to think about everything. Step 2, write down your goals. So, hey, everybody listening to the podcast is going to join that 3% of the population that's super successful. They need to be realistic, but push yourself. So, I mean, you can't just pick a number out of the sky. You have to look at what you did before, but push yourself a little bit. Step 3 is write it down in an I am, not an I will statement. So I am closing 50 transactions, not I will, I am. That's a visualization trick. So that's mindset stuff. Number 4, you've heard this before, SMART goals.
Yes.
So the SMART, if you go to any class,
right,
it's
the basics.
It's
basics
a basic
to goal setting.
But I like it. It's specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely. So you've got to follow those parameters when you're setting your goals. Make sure they're specific, not just, I'm going to do more business next year.
Right.
Well, like how much more? And be able to measure it and give it a deadline. I'm going to get to this in a second. Number 5 is action plan. Hey, how about that? Double down on what's working.
Okay.
You got to actually have a plan. Number 6 was be flexible and reevaluate. So that's what we already said. If it's not going so great, don't just hang on to a goal.
Don't just quit.
Yeah, don't just quit. Reassess. Get a new goal. But I also learned, and I think there's a book about this. I feel like it was a Brian Buffini, something I listened to. They do their goal setting in 12-week sections.
Oh.
So they break the year up into 12 weeks. And I think what's nice about that in real estate, especially being cyclical, if the first 3 months of the year are slower, then set your goals according to what you think is realistic. And that's a 12-week section. And then the next 12 weeks, you would set different goals.
Sure.
Okay? And then number 7, you're going to love this one. Celebrate wins weekly.
Weekly?
Yeah.
That's good. We need more celebration.
Because if you're looking at your goals as an end of the year thing, and you're not going to make them,
it's daunting.
You feel like a failure.
Even if you know you're going to make them, it's just so much has to happen between now and then.
Too big. Break it up into 12-week sections and celebrate weekly wins.
Okay.
I love that.
I found my 2013 goals.
Please tell us.
So just to put this into perspective, 2017 was my best year, selling 92 homes for $21 million.
I mean, first of all, we're going to just stop right there. That is like bananas good.
It's pretty crazy.
I'm
not really sure how that happened.
I'm going to celebrate your win.
Celebrate.
Way to go, girl.
Okay, but just 4 years prior,
Okay.
I was in year 2 of real estate.
Let's hear those goals.
$4 million
Okay.
was my goal, and I wanted to achieve that by selling 25 homes.
That's totally respectable.
Oh yeah, these are great goals.
Great goals.
The majority of those 25 transactions would be buyers because at this time I really wasn't getting that many listings because I was 21 and I looked like I was 15 and nobody trusted me to put my sign in their yard.
Right.
So I relied heavily on buyers in the beginning before I had the numbers to win over
And the confidence.
a seller. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Goal number 3. First was 4 million, 2 was 25. Ask for referrals.
Oh.
I made it a goal to ask.
What a great idea.
That could be letters.
Yeah.
That could be Facebook messages.
Love it.
But I just had to stop tiptoeing around it.
You made it a focus.
Complete my database.
Okay.
So no blanks in there.
Did you do it?
I did.
Love it.
Make a system for organizing leads, like sign calls, phone duty. So like if somebody just randomly calls you, I needed to make a system for that.
Got it.
And I made one and it's changed. Get the SRS, ABR, and SRES designation.
Not just
so
one.
I wanted to get 3 designations in a year.
Did you?
I did.
Well.
Join the board.
So many successes.
I know. I mean, I met most. Yeah, I think I met all these. Join the board. Serve. So
Yeah,
I do.
okay.
Done. Put $5,000 into my IRA.
Love it.
Do 6 mail outs a year.
Okay.
I put that because my broker pays for us to do 6 mail outs a year.
So you
so
wanna
I
at
was
least
like,
do
well, do that at least. It's paid
Yes. Did you do the 25 transactions? Do you remember?
for. I think I did.
Okay. I think that what was great about those, hey, number one, they were written down.
Yeah.
Proud of you.
Thanks.
And you met a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And I think that's all, they were all good. And they weren't all just numbers.
Right.
Sometimes those goals that are not numbers are the ones that actually move you through the numbers.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, I love that.
I had a goal the next year to run the 4-mile LSU Lake in 40 minutes.
Oh, did you do that?
No.
That's,
But you know what's funny?
you're doing it
I'm
now?
doing it now.
Sweet.
I'm back into it, and I think I'm going to make it.
I love it. That's a lot of running.
10-minute mile. Not so fast, but, you know.
I can't run a mile, so kudos to you. Okay. That is the steps to doing your goals.
Like them.
And then that was
very easy.
sort of a brief overview of a business planning. I also wanted to talk just a little bit about the word for the year. Have you ever heard of this?
Yes, you're more into it than I am, but I like it, so tell us about it.
Well, I mean, and I'm not an expert because I don't know where y'all are learning about me, but I listen to a lot of random webinars.
This is like your episode,
I
though.
like-
This episode was made for you.
This is my jam, y'all.
This is like a coaching episode
Ugh.
where you're telling me and our audience
How to-
how to goal
How to
set,
goal
how to
set.
get your mindset right, how to give yourself grace when it's okay to reevaluate.
It's okay to fail. Look, what the true irony of that is I think we all know this. I do have as much business as you, if not less than that.
But I admire your systems.
I think the systems are what keep me sane.
Okay.
And although I'm doing half as much business, I've managed to stay in this business twice as long.
Right.
So
I want to be here for the long term.
you've got to have systems or you're going to not have sanity. The word for the year, I don't know if I heard it in a podcast or I feel like, boy, Brian Buffet. You know why Brian's coming up so much? Because y'all go listen to his podcast. And I really wish I could remember the name of it right now. He's all about setting goals. He's all about systems, and he's a great coach. Okay, so I think it's like there's a book. Maybe it's called One Little Word, and then there was like a some sort of like challenge that some blogger. I don't
People
know.
love picking a word.
I
That's
think
like,
it is great.
This is my word for 2020.
Yes. So somehow I came across it and I heard it and it sort of resonated with me on whatever webinar I was listening to. And I'm like, I like that because a lot of times I find like where I'm struggling, you can hone. Here are some of the words. And a lot of times mine came to me organically. So that I would start the year and I would be having the same sort of struggles and I'd be like, you know what? I need to focus on balance. So I would just say the word balance. I would write it down. If things were feeling a little off kilter, I would just be like, okay, how can I make this about that word? And I've had balance. I've had simplify. I like simplify.
I had simple written down as my 2020 word.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Keep it simple. You don't need to overcommit. You don't
No.
need to do all these crazy things. You don't need to do a bunch of different things.
No.
Keep it simple. If you want to make it the year of handwriting letters, you handwrite, thousands of letters in 2020 and watch your business come in.
Yes, but you know what's interesting about that? I think when we're such pendulum people, we go one way to the other.
Yeah.
So I'm either going to set all the goals and I'm going to try to do all the things, or I'm going to do no goals and I'm going to be a total failure, right? Like I'm
Okay.
not going to set them, I'm not going to write them down.
Right.
If we can find that middle ground, just like what you're saying, pick a thing.
Yeah.
Like let that thing be your goal. Simplify. I think last year I did connect because I really wanted to be more intentional about reaching out to my database and, just connecting to people. Even through social media, that was part of my focus too. Like comment on other people's posts, like connect.
Sure.
I think I know what 2020 is, but I think it's because it's so obvious.
What?
Do you want to take a guess at my 2020 word?
I feel like I should have some guesses, but
I don't know. I
I
don't
don't
know
know
the
what
spot.
direction this is going in.
I totally put you on the spot. Because it's 2020, and because I do feel like
Vision.
Yep. She did it. I think that's a great word for 2020.
It is.
But I think it applies to where I am at right now. It's not just something, 2020 is cool, I'm going to call it vision. I had a lot of clarity in 2019 about where I want my business to go. I mean, that's part of why we're doing the podcast.
Right.
So I think that vision resonates with me for 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that it's kind of cute.
It's funny because I feel like once we became good friends, that is when I started thinking, because you question, like, well, what are you doing this for? Like, what are you in real estate for? What's your long-term goal? And I'm like, I don't know. It's just my job. My family needs income. It's my...
I gotta pay bills.
It's my... I need to provide for my family and pay bills. But you have always had a bigger vision, a bigger picture of, you know, do you want to do more? Do you want to do less? And not more doesn't mean more business.
Right.
It just means something else that you enjoy,
Yeah.
or do you want to use your success for something? And I mean, I think that's why I was like, in the beginning when I met you, I was like, no, I just want to sell real estate. And I do, that's always going to be my primary thing. But that's why you got my wheels turning, and that's why I texted you that day saying maybe we should do a podcast.
Yeah.
And it can be a platform to help people reach the masses without having to meet individually with everybody. And, you know, it's fun. It frees up my time and allows me to refer people to it.
For sure. And it's super fulfilling. It's doing exactly what you thought it could do. And I think it's interesting because it came to me in the last few years, that pull and that feeling. Like when I asked you, what are you doing this for? It wasn't because I knew year 5 or 7 that I knew what I was doing it for. But at year 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, it starts to feel like the natural progression is to start taking on buyer's agents and have a big team, or consider being a broker, or like how do you, if you're a growth-minded individual and have some sort of ambition and you're a realtor, there are sort of these natural places that it takes you, right?
Sure.
And you and I think, always both connected on the fact that we had no desires to be a broker or a team leader.
I think that to me it's a totally different job. It would be like me quitting what I'm doing to become a manager.
Right.
I don't want to manage other realtors. I don't want to be responsible for other realtors. I just want to manage my clients.
Yeah, and I think what the whole point of I'm trying to make, and the tale that this is that it's okay if you're in a business and you don't want to take the path that is the natural progression.
Sure.
It's okay if your goal is to work less and you don't need all of that income. It is okay if your goal is to, you know, be with your family more, or to travel more, or to do anything.
I set a goal one year to match my production of the previous year.
Okay.
Like I was just looking at it and I was like, that was a great year. If I could do that again, I would be happy.
Right.
If I didn't grow, if I just maintained for this year, I'm good with that.
You're good.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. It's okay to consider that you've reached the top of what you want your goal to be.
Right.
But when you start to feel restless, or like you want something more, then really give it some thought.
Sure. So what do you think made you get that feeling?
That's a really interesting question.
Like, was it something? Was it that your kids were at school and like what?
Do you want to know the honest answer?
Yeah.
I felt like I didn't have any more to give to get more income out of my real estate. I felt like I was doing everything that I was willing to do and still have my boundaries in place.
Right.
And I wanted to make more money. Like I just felt like I was kind of stuck in a place where I didn't know how to fit in the activities it was going to require for me to make the real estate grow financially.
Okay.
I sort of felt at a plateau.
Like you knew hitting bigger numbers meant you would have to sacrifice some of your time with your family and boundaries, and you just were like, I don't want to grow that way.
Yeah, but I do want to grow, I do want to grow financially. So I'm like, okay, well, if I don't want to grow that way and I don't want to give more of trade my time for money, like what am I going to do? So it's going to come more into light as we go through the next few months. But so I found some things that I think are going to add to that.
Perfect.
And complement it in a nice way. And I think that I just felt a pull, like, I mean, sure, I toyed with it for a second. Maybe I do need to be a broker. Is that what I have to do? Like, I don't know how to.
Isn't that what I'm supposed to do?
Isn't that what I'm supposed to be doing? So I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I toyed with it for a minute. I'm like, that just doesn't feel right. Like,
No.
it just didn't feel right. And I think I feel like I got some clarity, especially once we committed to doing the podcast, and so. Life is a journey that you don't know the end of, but you don't have to stay exactly where you are. And if you feel like you're stuck and you don't feel comfortable making the changes you'd have to make that bigger, then have another thing.
You have to respect the season that you're in.
Yeah.
I know that, I turned down our board of directors secretary treasurer position a few years ago because I knew that it meant becoming vice president and then president.
Right.
During a time when I was going to be having my first baby.
Yeah, that just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, so.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. We look at what everyone else is doing.
Comparison.
Yeah, we look at what everyone else is doing, we put ourselves in the same line, and we're like, okay, well, that's what happens next. So I have to, that's very brave to say, I'm not ready for that.
Right.
That's not what I want my goal to be.
I feel like it always goes back to mindset.
Totally.
Like, no matter what the topic is,
yes,
it's all about your mindset, how you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Are you comparing yourself or are you embracing your strengths?
Yep.
You know you.
Yes.
You know the truth, and
yes.
You know what you're capable of, what you can handle, what's going on in your life. How are your parents doing? Are they aging? Do they need more time with you?
Yeah.
How are your kids doing? How old are they? Are they becoming more independent, or are they little and need you more?
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out, where am I? What can I handle? Don't beat yourself up.
Right.
I like it.
I love it. And that is where goal setting is fun.
It is so fun.
It's fun. Picture what you want your life to look like next year. And don't be afraid to say if it's more or less or lateral. If it's the same, that's great. Just picture what it looks like to reach those goals. And then you can get there. And write them down. Because if you don't write them down.
Are you doing another vision board?
Well,
how often do you do those?
No, remember. Okay, so back
for
YouTube
it's like
friends,
a couple years.
I had 10 years in between those.
10 years?
You saw the original.
I didn't realize it was 10.
You saw the original vision board.
Yes.
I made that one when I was feeling kind of in that slumpy year 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't remember what year it was, 2 or 3, where I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work for me. And I made that vision board and I got really focused on mindset. And I kind of ran with it for a while, and then things were just good in a nice place. And this year, when I started to feel that pull, and I started to feel like I needed more or something else, or I needed to push myself out of whatever comfort zone I was in, that's when I made a new one.
Huh.
It had been 10 years.
I like it.
So, you need to do your goals every year.
Sure.
But you can jumpstart yourself.
Well, some of the things on the vision board, like owning a vacation home or whatever, could take a couple years.
Yeah, for sure they do take a couple of years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that, you could set goals for 5 years down the road, but I think make sure you set some for 12 weeks down the road.
Right. Right.
It's okay. I think that is really, I'm going to do vision. Is simple your word for next year?
I had simple written down. I had aware.
Oh, love that.
Okay, so here's why aware.
Let me hear it.
I want to be aware of the people around me instead of so focused on my stuff. Like, I want to be more aware of how my husband's doing in his job. I want to be more aware of the realtors around me in my office and how they're doing.
Love it.
I want to be more aware of how my daughter is, like, just tuning in more to my surroundings than to myself.
Okay.
I don't want to be tuned out.
I love it.
Going through life.
Okay.
And then I had proactive.
Oh.
But
proactive seems wrong. Can I weigh in?
It does seem wrong.
It seems like that's a push word. That's an achiever's word.
I know.
That's a total
that's
achiever's
my
word.
Enneagram 3 word.
Yes. I'm ixnaying on that one.
Okay.
You can have aware or simple, either way.
Simple and aware.
Simply aware.
Perfect.
There you go. Okay, this has been like the best episode ever for me because I think
You're
it's
so energized right now.
I love it. Like, it's my favorite thing. And so we could go further into it, and maybe next year we'll do a whole nother one. Do you think we'll be doing this next year?
Yeah.
I do too.
Oh my gosh, you scared me for a second.
I'm not going to quit on you right now.
Okay.
That's my goal. My goal for 2020 is to let this go.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't cry. So 2020, people, get some goals. Write them down. I don't care what they are, but make sure they're on a piece of paper somewhere.
I'm excited about who we're toasting to today.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay, I'm going to butcher her name. Her name is Sarah Guzik. I'm going to call her Sarah G.
Okay, I love it.
She's from Ontario.
Ooh.
And she's been following along, so we have a Canadian.
Do you know that Canada is on my bucket list of places I want to go?
I hear it's beautiful.
I know. I want to go so bad. Okay.
I just am excited that we have a Canadian following the podcast, tuning
Ah.
in. Okay, so she's a new agent.
Okay.
She just had her first deal.
Yay.
She started selling at the beginning of September,
Okay.
and 2 weeks ago, she had her first deal.
Okay.
She works with her dad, who has been selling for 35 years,
Mm-hmm.
and he has been her mentor. And she is like so blessed. She said,
What
"They're
a great
just
mentor.
team."
Okay.
But this was her first solo deal,
All by yourself.
all by herself. That's huge.
I love it.
So good. So
Okay.
we are going to cheers to Sarah G.
Yay, Sarah. Good job.
Congrats.
Congrats. The end. Oh,
Perfect.
the end. didn't forget
Forgot
about you,
there.
but totally forgot about you. Okay.
That was good.